All right, Brian, so here we are.
Here we are.
Yep. And we are proving in real time that anyone, absolutely anyone, can start a podcast.
Yeah. You just need a couple microphones and a computer, I guess.
And two, would you say brilliantly talented people like us, or would you characterize us differently than that?
I would characterize me like that.
That way, okay.
But we got to be careful.
With one brilliantly talented person and then another guy. That's what you need to start a podcast, obviously.
I think everyone's going to find out real quick that's not true.
Yes. So we thought it would be helpful before we kind of launch into our first official episode to just record a brief introduction to the podcast. That's Worth Repeating is the name of our podcast that we're launching here. And we're really going to be exploring what we say are quotable quotes by notable people.
Yeah, I like that.
You like
quotable,
that?
Quotable, notable.
What do you like about it, Brian?
It all rhymes.
It rhymes.
Yeah, and I don't know what it means.
That's a depth of insight, though. Just the fact that you picked up on the fact that it rhymes.
Yeah.
This podcast is going to be phenomenal. I can already tell.
We're going to try to make our answers rhyme.
Yeah. So the nature of the podcast is that every other sentence has to rhyme.
We can do that.
So, but actually, what we're going to do is we're going to explore these quotes that we come across, whether we come across them in our reading or we hear them from someone. In fact, the truth of the matter is that just about anyone in our world, in our sphere of communication and interaction, could be featured in some way on That's Worth Repeating.
Sometimes you're quotable accidentally.
That's right. You didn't mean to be quotable. And the idea of being notable, you're notable because you said something quotable.
Yeah.
Or you also could be notable because you're famous.
Yeah.
It could be either way.
Yeah.
So you could find yourself featured on this podcast and be named among the notable simply because you were quotable enough to be on the podcast.
Well, yeah, that's it. In our day and age, all it takes is one misquote to then throw it on a public thing like this, and then you're notable.
That's right. So there is no editorial review here other than us, and there's no corporate power that is governing who makes the cut. But nonetheless, we are going to try to really highlight quotes that, generally speaking, provide tremendous insight in a concise way, or are very inspiring in the way that they're put together, or provocative, either provocative in some reactionary way, or they provoke deep thought in some way. I mean, that's the idea. And really to oftentimes, especially in our day and time, in sort of a hashtag meme sort of soundbite world that we live in, you quotes and memes and that kind of thing are kind of a dime a dozen. Some of them are funny and, you can kind of be entertained by them. But what we want to do is we want to take some of these quotes that we come across and really explore them. Like, what was the context in which they were spoken? What was said around the quotes, or who was it that said it, and what was going on in their world, or things like that that might be compelling and interesting, maybe fun and funny to think about or talk about. So we're gonna try to take a quote and build a podcast episode around it.
Nice.
That's the idea.
Well, and you're right. I mean, sometimes these quotes they can sound funny, and they can just be something you can stick on a T-shirt or put on your wall. But then you see the context in which they were said. Yeah, there's a lot to them.
Takes on a whole new sort of depth of meaning, or what have you. So that's what we're going to be trying to do. Again, I'm Richard Goff, and I'll be joined each episode with you,
Brian Irby.
Brian Irby, yes. We're pastors.
Did you forget my name?
I mean, the tape on your forehead with your name on it helped me.
I'll be joining this my friend.
Yes,
a buddy over here.
We're super close. But we are going to be. We're both. I should say we're both pastors at a local church here in Woodstock, Georgia. Enjoy working together and serving together in a wonderful family of faith called Faith Community Church. Actually,
yeah.
But really, what we tend to find ourselves doing fairly consistently is we end up in these conversations where we just naturally weave in and out of depth and substance to humor and maybe a little edge of sarcasm, and we make ourselves laugh. And so we thought we'll hook up mics and record it and see if it's interesting.
Yeah.
And
it sounded like a good plan.
Yes. So it's a genius strategy that we've got a whole book that we've written about the strategy for this podcast. And so someday you'll get to, when we're much more famous than we already are.
Yeah.
Maybe that book will be published.
And when the book goes from our imagination into print.
Into actual print. Yeah. Yes, that's right. But so that's going to be the gist of it. That's where we're going. We'll probably try to produce at least one episode a week. We'll see how it goes, but that's kind of the goal, the target. And so we'll go ahead, and after this little introduction, you'll see the first episode coming out. Looking forward to getting that in the can, as they say. I think that's parlance.
Is that
for
what they say?
I think.
Okay.
Somebody says that. Yeah. And we'll look forward to kind of starting this journey, and whoever joins on with us, we'll look forward to having you along for the ride.
Thanks, man.
All right, man.